It's the start of a tough three-game week for Queen's Park Rangers on Saturday, with 12th place Ipswich Town set to visit Loftus Road. So I caught up with George Solomon from the Blue Monday podcast to get his thoughts on the Tractor Boys' return to the Championship, Kieran McKenna being linked to the Celtic job, and how this weekend's clash will play out. If you're new here, I'm Connor aka Hoopser, and I talk all things QPR, so if you like what you see, make sure you hit like and subscribe. If you'd like to support the channel even further, I also recently launched a Patreon, which will be getting its first exclusive perks next week, so make sure you stick around to the end for more details on those. George, hello, welcome to Hoopser for a QPR versus Ipswich Town preview. It's great to have you on the channel. How are you doing, first of all?
Very good, thank you, Connor. Yeah, good. Excited for the game of the weekend. I think as Ipswich fans, we all look forward to a trip to Loftus Road every season. So, yeah, nice to chat to you and looking forward to the weekend.
Yeah, nice one. So it's 4 wins, 4 draws and 3 losses for 12th place Ipswich so far. Not perhaps where the fans wanted to be after just over a quarter into the season, but the table is pretty congested. You're still only 3 points outside the playoffs. What have you made of the start to the season, and what's the feeling amongst the supporters?
Yeah, unexpected start, I think. I think we knew there would be a churn of players in the summer and a turnover of, just generally settling in new players, watching our sort of top performers in Liam Delap and Amari Hutchinson leave for the Premier League. But I think we're all quite disappointed by, like you just said there, it's pretty much bang average, no? 4 wins, 4 draws, 3 defeats. So, disappointed. There have been little signs here and there that we're starting to click. We smashed Sheffield United 5-0 on a Friday night at Portman Road. But then I think in hindsight, you go, that Sheffield United side is terrible. We beat Norwich, which is the first time we've beaten Norwich, our local rivals, for 16 years. So there's a lot of emotion behind that game. But again, Norwich aren't a particularly good side this year. So the little green shoots haven't quite given us enough, I don't think. And last Tuesday, we lost 3-0 at home to Charlton, which was definitely the low point of the season. And actually, when most of us step back, you go, it's probably Kieran McKenna's worst ever night in charge of the club. So that kind of gives an idea of the current barometer. It's like everyone loves McKenna. He's got so much credit in the bank, but things aren't right, probably for the first time in his reign. And we keep thinking we'll click and we'll come good. But at a certain point, you have to say, well, you've had enough games of the season now, and maybe this is just kind of where you're at. So, yeah, I think that probably gives an idea. There's every chance you beat us on Saturday, and there's every chance that we do click and we put in a really good performance. But honestly, we don't know which Ipswich is going to turn up.
Why would you say that Ipswich haven't clicked yet? Is it down to that squad churn? Is it a little bit harder to describe than that?
Yeah, I think it is predominantly the squad churn. We, as a fan base, have a huge emotional attachment to the team that got us back-to-back promotions. So that's the 23-24 team. I think we won 1-0 at Loftus Road that season. And since then, Premier League, I won't go into the Premier League year, but it was pretty brutal. And I think it's almost like McKenna's trying to rebuild that promotion-winning team, but with much better players. But it's almost like the specific players we bought don't quite fit the roles of the old team. And it's just trying to get it all to marry up together. It looks to my eye that the tactics have changed slightly, but I think also we're playing against sides who are coming and sitting deep and lots of men behind the ball, and they're more than happy to get a point. But then also we look quite fragile when teams are going long and breaking on us. So, it's hard to say. I think it is the case of the players that we paid a lot of money for and the players that other Championship fans would probably go, he's a really good player. They aren't probably performing in the way that we would like them to. As in when that happens, then hopefully we move up the table. But as I say, it just doesn't look especially cohesive, and we don't look that dominant in games. And I think that's the disappointing thing, is really we should have some games where we really, really dominate the opposition. And that hasn't hugely happened yet, sort of Sheffield United aside.
Kieran McKenna's name is circulating around the vacant Celtic job. Do you think that's something that has actual legs, or is it purely speculation? And how do you think the fans would feel if that was to materialise? As you mentioned, he has a lot of goodwill already in the bank.
Yeah, I mean, just first and foremost, if McKenna left, it would be a very sad day for the football club. He's not only for what he's achieved on the pitch, but his demeanor, the way that he leads the club, his work off the pitch, he's kind of everything that as an Ipswich fan you would want your manager to be. So it would be super disappointing. He's turned down, since he's been our manager, it's pretty well known that he's turned down Chelsea, Man United and Brighton. So there's a feeling that, well, why would he go to Celtic? But I think he turned those jobs down when we'd been promoted. And so I think he wanted to see it through, and he believed that we would perform much better than we did last season. So if you now look at where he's at in his career, I think actually the opportunity of going to Celtic maybe appeals to him slightly more than if he takes us back up. It doesn't massively add to his CV. Whereas if he goes to Celtic, manages in Europe, manages a huge club. I understand that his family are all massive Celtic fans. So there are pulls to get him there. At the time of recording, he's actually doing his press conference now. So I'm not sure how he's answered those questions, but it's been interesting this week. There's been absolutely no like complete denial from within the club, which often creeps out, as I'm sure you know. So yeah, I think there is definitely legs to it. And it would be a real shame, but I don't think we would be as sort of worried as we were almost any other point in his reign. I think the squad that we have, there is a whole host of managers who would sort of lick their lips at coming in and giving it a crack. So would hate to see him go, but I don't think it would be a disaster, and I would understand why he went, I think.
Yeah, I mean, you mentioned the squad there. When you look at it on paper, it is almost like a championship super team. So who has stood out so far of the players that are there, and who do you expect to cause QPR problems on Saturday?
Yeah, Jaden Philogene has probably been our standout player of the season so far in terms of his goals. He scored a hat trick against Sheffield United, and all three were kind of goal of the month contenders. And yeah, he's probably been the star name in recent weeks. Jack Clark scored 4 goals coming off the bench, and I think they're two sort of standout wingers that most Championship fans would know. Jack Clark was incredible for Sunderland a couple of years ago. Philogene was brilliant for Hull in the season where we went up, but they both play off the left. So at the moment, we've only started with both of them in the team a couple of times this season, and that was when Clark was playing on the right, and he was pretty ineffective off the right. So we kind of have this weird issue whereby our two best players, perhaps, are both left wingers. However, it does mean that with 20 minutes to go, on comes Jack Clark at a tire in defence, and it's no coincidence that he's scoring goals off the bench. So that's a real strong suit for us. And behind them in left back is Leif Davis, who is probably the best attacking left back in the league, I think. He broke the assist record when we got promoted, and his off the ball runs for the guys, so to take away a fullback, are so dangerous. And I'm sure at some point on Saturday, that link up will create a chance. So that left hand side is a real strong suit. We lost our club captain Sam Morsey in the summer and replaced him with a Dutch guy called Azor Matasiwa. He plays in central midfield. He's really settled in now. He's super dynamic, very tidy, efficient, the classic kind of Makaleli type central midfielder. So I'm a big fan of his. I think he might have taken my favourite player spot, to be honest. So that he's doing really well. The other midfield spot has been difficult. No one's really grabbed the shirt yet. The right wing has been a bit of a problem position as well. We signed Casey McAteer in the summer from Leicester. He's not hit the ground running at all. And the other guy there is a sort of Norwegian wonder kid who's looked good, but not one who started many away games yet. So I think you might see McAteer there on the weekend. And then up front, George Hurst, we all hoped and expected he would be our main man this season. He's our number 9, but he's not hit the ground running. So there's just lots of areas of the team where on paper we look good, but in reality, they just haven't hit the heights we would have hoped. So yeah, it's the left-hand side. I think that's where you need to sort of look out on Saturday.
And on the flip side, how could Rangers cause the Tractor Boys some problems on Saturday?
Yeah, well, there's almost like a blueprint now, to be honest. The games that we've lost, it's, we look relatively comfortable. We have possession, we have a bit more territory, and then balls over the top. Our two centre halves, Dara Roche, who's captain, and Jacob Greaves has lost his space now to Cedric Kipre, but we're just really struggling with a pretty direct ball over the top. Charlton made hay with it while the sun shined. And it's almost like when we go a goal down, and McKenna's come out and said this, we don't react. We look quite passive. So Charlton scored 3 in, I think, 12 minutes, and it was like, what on earth has happened here? I went to the Preston game right early on in the season. They beat us 1-0, and it's almost like we're not quite earning the right to play. We're not really going there and putting the fundamentals in place and then earning the opportunity to go and take the lead. So yeah, I think it's if you're able to weather a storm with us a little while and then hit us hard on the break, yeah, we don't look like a team who's going to be keeping clean sheets. That being said, we beat West Brom on Saturday, and we pretty much did what I just described. It was a pretty dull game, but we just rode it out. We used our subs, which typically are a big advantage for us because our squad's quite big and quite deep. And then on came Jack Clark against Tyrone Defence, and he scores and we win 1-0. So I think that's what we want now as a club. We need to be grinding out 1-0s. If we don't, then yeah, any side against us has got a pretty good opportunity at the moment.
Well, George, it's been great to have you on for this preview. You mentioned at the start Ipswich's last visit to Loftus Road was a tight 1-0 away win back in August 2023. So to round us off, let's get your score prediction for the weekend.
So on the Blue Monday sort of weekend preview that I do, the show I do every week, I said a 1-0 Ipswich, more in hope than expectation, to be honest. But yeah, I think if we are going to win the game, I think we're going to have to do it sort of by a narrow margin. So I'm going to go for an optimistic 1-0 to Ipswich. You're going to have to let me know yours as well, mate.
Yeah, everything you said has put the fear in me, to be honest. The fact that, you're waiting for Ipswich to click, it always feels like that clicks into place against QPR. I am worried about that left-hand side, particularly with Jimmy Dunn there. He's not been in as strong form as we saw last season from him. So I think he's going to need a lot of cover there. But again, the strength that you have from the bench makes me think there is a lot of goals in this. So I'm going to go for a 2-2 draw. I think it's going to be a bit of a goal fest.
Nice. I mean, I think we'd all probably take a point, but the pressure on us as a club is to get automatic promotion. And at a certain point, we need to be going and winning, putting a run together. Sort of Millwall have won 5 on the bounce. Obviously, Coventry are unstoppable. So, yeah, the pressure is on us. We need to win on Saturday, but yeah, we will see. Always fun game at Loftus Road.
Absolutely. Well, George, thank you so much again for joining, and all the best for the rest of the season after Saturday, of course.
Ledge. Thank you, mate.
Thanks so much again to George for joining me for this one. Make sure you give him a follow and check out the Blue Monday podcast down below. I already said it at the end of our chat there, but if you're a QPR fan and talk of Ipswich not yet quite clicking didn't put a shiver down your spine, I'd be very surprised. Regardless of their start to the season, this is still a very strong Ipswich squad, and I think it would be naive of us to underestimate the quality they have at their disposal. That left-hand side of Jayden Philogene and or Jack Clark with Leif Davis is what scares me the most, particularly because I don't think Jimmy Dunn has been quite as sturdy as last season so far. And so the winger that Julien Stéphan chooses to help nullify that side is going to be make or break here. To that point, if you're looking at all-round game, I'd actually say you'd probably want Paul Smith there because he's the most reliable winger we have in terms of providing that defensive support as well as an outlet. Alternatively, Stéphan could choose to pad out the midfield with 3 centre mids with one helping fight fires out on that wing, though he does seem to be pretty wedded to having 2 strikers on the pitch at the same time, and I'd be surprised if he moves away from that at home anytime soon. Generally speaking, the head coach isn't short of options, having confirmed to the media earlier this week that a full squad is available for selection, though presumably that doesn't include Joe Walsh, but we may actually finally see Jake Clark-Salter and Kwame Poku back in this matchday squad after all this time. Having chopped and changed over the last 3-game week, for me this will be where Stéphan has to prove his mettle by finding an effective and consistent starting 11 out of all of those options and using the squad effectively over the next 3 to come. Anyway, I've already given George my score predictions, so what about you? Let me know how you think this one's going to play out in the comments down below. Before I go, I just wanted to circle back to the fact that next week, the first 2 exclusive perks for members of my Patreon will be dropping. The first of these is the maiden episode of my new Patreon exclusive QPR Month in Review podcast, during which I'll be joined by 2 guests to discuss and assess Rangers' October performances in more of a long form format. The second perk will be early access to my next new player interview, which I'll be recording on Friday afternoon and releasing to patrons before anyone else. If those perks sound of interest to you and you'd like to help support the channel even further, you can become a member by clicking the link in the description down below. And to those of you who are already signed up, thank you so much once again, and I hope you enjoy these exclusives. Right, so that's all from me. Thank you so much for tuning in. If you're new to the channel and you'd like to see more, please consider hitting like and subscribe, and hopefully I'll see you for the next one in my match reaction. Come on, you Rs.